Hi guys, welcome to Manhood Explained. My name is Camille. Today is 28th of February 2020 and welcome to live number 63. Today we're going to talk about something funny but horrible at the same time. I'm going to talk about the situations when you hear something so ridiculous that you don't even know how to comment, which many times lead to argument. You see, on Facebook right now, amongst my friends, at least amongst them, there's one meme which is flies all over the place, which says more or less something like this because it's in Polish. I didn't know before I started living with my girlfriend that I can put milk into the fridge and do it the wrong way. And this is like a free translation, so maybe it not doesn't translate like, but the absurdity of the situation is probably known for, I think, by every one of us. So that's why I'm going to talk about it, because it's something common, but something that needs to be kind of figured out and understood. I hope it will help you a lot. So listen, there is a story that I had an experience that years ago that'll kind of explain the same thing. Listen, that's the situation. It's early weekday, and we are preparing to go to work. I'll have to leave like 20 or 30 minutes after my wife, so she's preparing. So I'm trying not to kind of stopping her or just kind of block her here or there. So I'm just sticking to the wall and trying not to disturb her. And the washing machine just finished the program, and she is asking me, "Listen, I've got to go in a few minutes. Could you take our clothes and just put it on a dryer?" And just to make it clear, in Poland, it's until today it's not really popular to have mechanical dryers, and we've got some. Like a metal mesh that you can put your stuff on. I'll put the link into the comments so you know what I'm talking about. So it's basically a metal thing. You just put your things on it and let it dry. So that's how it works. Many of us, many families in Poland have this. So I do what I normally do. I just pick up the whole thing, put it on the sofa, and then try to sort it out, and then put it on the dryer. And a few minutes later, she just enters the room and she starts to tell me that you're doing it wrong. You've got to do it differently. I said, first of all, how if you can even do this thing wrong? It's like, what are you talking about? It's so ridiculous that I didn't know how to react to that. And so she said, you've got to put it on the dryer and then spread it apart. And I said, but what is wrong with doing it as I do? Putting it on the sofa and then sort it out. Because my understanding is that I want to put everything there, because then I can just sort it, like put t-shirts over here, puts the underwear over here, and especially have socks in pairs, because when you put everything in, put it in on the dryer, you've got t-shirts over here, we've got underwear over here, we've got socks put next to each other. So then if you don't have time to put it in a drawer, you can just go into the room, grab the two socks which are next to each other, and you know that it's going to be a pair. So that's my system. There's always a system, right? I'm an engineer, so that's how it works. But she said, no, we've got to put it in a dryer. I said, okay, but okay, first of all, calm down. Take a breath. Tell me why this thing is wrong. What do you mean? What happened that puts you into this position that you say that I'm not supposed to do the way I do it? And she had to stop, and she thought for a few seconds, and then she told me a story when I did a few times and I lost a sock, somewhere under the pillow or somewhere there. And that's her place, that's her spot when she was sitting and reading the books and so on. And she found herself a few times sitting there and just feeling something wet, and it drove her nuts. And I said, points taken, completely understand that. So then I asked her, if I'll ensure that it's never going to happen again, then I'm going to check all the sofa, the whole thing, whole sofa, over and over again to ensure there's nothing there. If that's not nothing, if that's not going to happen again, is that still the wrong way to do it? She said no. So then I said, okay, so it's never going to happen again. So she said, okay. Then we kind of smiled because the problem was solved. I gave her a kiss, and she just went to work, and this whole thing ended up happily, and both of us had a great day. So listen, I know that you know this kind of situation. I want you to understand what is going on. What is exactly the situation that you're seeing when you're experiencing this thing? First of all, whenever she starts to say something crazy, something that it's so ridiculous that it's even hard to comment, you've got to know that there's a story. There's a story behind it. Your role is to find out what is that story so you could understand what's going on. But one thing that you need to understand that most of the time when she's gonna start to use this kind of wording, this talk about this crazy stuff, she'll be already agitated, or she'll already be kind of angry, or agitated. I think it's a good word. So then what you have to understand is that you've got to control the emotions. That's that simple. Because listen, you've got to understand, girls are so much more emotional than we are. That's obvious for any guy who ever had any girl. I know that it's not in every case, but in huge majority of cases, this is the case. So you've got to understand that it's not her role to control the emotions, really. I talked about it with my wife, and she told me something very interesting about it. She said, "Listen, every day for us is kind of a struggle, because we think over it all the time, and then we've got these huge emotions that we feel, and we've got to struggle with this. And then on top of that, we've got this whole hormonal cycle, which it not makes which does not make this whole thing easier, even worse. So don't put additional things on us. Let us deal with our stuff, and it will be good if you can hold your fort." So this is what you've got to understand. The game of emotions is not your game. It's their game, and if you try to fight them in their game, you're gonna lose. That's that simple. But what's your game is to because we have this much smaller range of emotions that we feel. That's why many of us hear this, that you don't you act like you don't feel anything. You're this thick skin. You don't share your emotions. We've got emotions, and if you're a guy, you know that you do. We express them differently, but many of them it's even hard for us to explain. It's like, what's love? Have you ever thought about it? It's hard to explain. It's even harder to feel. That's why we express it differently many times. We say that I love this, I like this girl. That's it. So we've got emotions, but we express them differently. We've got much smaller emotion, a small amount, or we kind of experience them in a much smaller way. So that's why it's our role to control the emotions. And then what you have to do is to ask her what's going on. And if she's agitated, tell her, "Listen, babe, I love you. Calm down. Take a breath. I want us to help solve the problem. I want to do this so both of us will be, okay with this." Ask her question. What happened? What happened that you feel this way? What drag you to this conclusion? And then, let her tell the story. Let her, think about it and tell you what's going on, and then you'll be able to, see what's the problem, find the solution, and fix the problem. And then, if you propose the solution, ask her if we're gonna do this next time when something like this happens, is that gonna be okay? If she'll say yes, then ask her for the confirmation. Okay, so we decided that in this kind of situations we're gonna do this, and that. Is that okay? When she'll say yes, then you'll be able to come back to that whenever something happens like this. You're going to do this way. You'll say, "Listen, but we discussed this. That's what we decided to do, right?" So if you do that, if you do this, you'll see that you'll be able to not only take control of the emotions, kind of get this whole situation under control. Then you'll start to see that it's going to be so easy, because if you do it once, twice, 3, 5, 10 times, you start to see that it's doable. You can basically just take control over it and kind of omit this whole argument, and you'll see that it's kind of your role, and you can do it quite okay. As a side note, if you're a guy in a relationship that you have these moods and you're bringing the emotions into your relationship, man, you've got to get yourself together, because it's not her role to kind of take your emotions on herself additionally on top of what she has. So just do something about it, because she's not there to kind of deal with your trauma. Just, and I'm not saying don't feel emotions, don't express them, but be wise, because you exploding and just showing what you feel in this negative way, it's gonna work on her the same way it works on you when she starts to scream at you out of nowhere. Be wise and just when everything's fine, you can talk. Ask her, listen, could you talk with me? I've got this issue. I need your help to fix it. Just be wise, and then you'll be able to fix it. Just as a side note. So listen, this is what I want you to take from this video. If you want to play the emotional game, you're going to lose, because it's not your game, it's their game, and they're master of it. They're gonna destroy you. Your game is to keep the emotions down, tell her that you love her, and listen to this story, ask her about it, find the root cause of the problem, then propose a solution, and then confirm the solution. Because then you'll understand that if you learn how to do this, then every situation when she start to talk about this craziness that it's even hard to comment because it's so ridiculous, or when she starts to be agitated or angry, you know that it's the next situation when you can just start to shine again. Because then you'll understand that you can use your ability to keep emotions down, then find the root cause of the problem, propose the solution, and fix the problem. Because then you'll understand that the fact that we are emotionally challenged, that it's not a curse, it's a gift. So use it wisely, brother. Think about it, do something about it, and see you tomorrow.